I feel like most POIs in Fortnite are pretty good. I truly don't believe that there are many bad POIs. Usually POIs either have a good theme slash aesthetic or they have a lot of loot. However, I do believe that there are a fair amount of POIs that are overrated, and that's what I'm here to discuss today. Just like the underrated POIs video, I'm going to talk about 2 POIs from each chapter, so 10 in total. And obviously, the chapter 5 POIs are subject to change because we're not done with chapter 5 yet. But before we get into it, just want to say, be sure to subscribe, like this video, let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree, disagree. Be sure to join the Discord server. Link will be in the top of the description. We have a ton of fun in there. It's a great time. And anyways, love you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. And enjoy the video.
Got a number 1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get done.
Number 1, we got Shifty Shafts. I said it last video, and I'll say it again. I feel like almost every POI from chapter 1 is pretty properly rated. It was tough for me to pick 2 underrated POIs from chapter 1, and I'm finding that it's even harder to pick 2 overrated POIs from chapter 1. I feel like I only hear people talk positively about Shifty Shafts, and I get it. The theme is very cool. I love the mineshaft vibe, and I've always been a fan of connecting tunnels and small crawl spaces. However, there is just not a lot of loot here at all. Honestly, if Shifty Shafts was just a little bit bigger, it would probably be in my top 10 or at least close to it. I don't like that there's just 2 random houses in the POI. Like, they're just chilling on the outskirts. I feel like they only added those because they knew there wasn't enough loot. If more than one full squad lands there, somebody's gonna be shorthanded in the loot department. And fighting here is always so awkward because of the weird shape of the tunnel spaces. Shifty Shafts isn't a bad POI. I just think it could be a lot better, and it really should be. Number 2, we got Neo Tilted. Although I do like the aesthetic, Neo Tilted is a huge downgrade from Tilted Towers in my opinion. I think that Season X was much better with Tilted Towers revisions. I think Gotham City and Tilted Tower are much more creative than Neo Tilted was. And I mean, the futuristic theme goes along with the season, but I feel like they did a much better job with Mega Mall than they did with Neo Tilted. And I'm not even a Mega Mall fan. I don't even like it. I honestly debated putting Mega Mall on this list because I didn't really like it either. But I feel like it's better because it has a grounded idea of being a futuristic mall, while Tilted is just a futuristic version of the city. Like, it doesn't make as much sense. I honestly feel like Mega City is a better version of Neo Tilted in like every category. And as far as loot goes, I feel like there was a lot less loot in Neo Tilted than Tilted Towers. Is that just me? That might be just me, but overall, I feel like Tilted doesn't mesh well with the futuristic theme. It's supposed to be, you know, a modern but not super futuristic city, and I think that it was grounded in reality as that, and I think that when they changed it to Neo, it just didn't really work that well. Neo Tilted wasn't bad. I don't think it worked as well as they thought it would. Number 3, we got the Agency. As opposed to the other 2 POIs on this list, this is a POI I can confidently argue is overrated. I feel like everyone puts the Agency really high on their list of POIs, but it was not that good. Compared to all the other mythic POIs that were introduced this season, the Agency is the most lacking in cool theme. Like, the shark was an island made to look like a shark. That's awesome. The grotto was like a cave that was shaped like a skull on the outside. That's sick. The Agency just feels like a building on an island. Like, there's nothing else to it. Not to mention, there was not a lot of loot here. Most of the time, you get 15, 20 people landing Agency, and there was just not enough loot for that many people. I truly think if Midas wasn't here, this would be a bottom of the barrel POI. It's literally just a slightly upgraded version of Loot Lake, and nobody likes Loot Lake. I will say, there are some cool parts of it, like the helipad and the vents that lead to the little underground rooms, but overall, I just feel like the Agency is extremely overrated. Number 4, we got Catty's Corner. I don't know if anyone actually liked Catty's Corner, but it was a mythic POI, so it's going on the list. This POI was so tiny, and it had no loot at all. It was an absolute chaos fest every game with all the henchmen, players, lack of guns, you name it. I mean, to be fair, it was put into a losing position because they put mythics at this POI, and not only mythics, but the mythics everyone wanted, so a lot of people landed here. It was way too overcrowded every game, and it wasn't built for that many people. Heck, it wasn't even a named location the season before. It was Box Factory, and it wasn't even named. As far as the theme goes, I actually don't hate it, which is weird because it doesn't really have a theme. It's just a gas station and a junkyard. If you did happen to get the place all to yourself, it was pretty fun to loot and kill all the henchmen and also get the mythics. Again, I really don't know if anyone actually liked this POI, but it's going on the list anyway because it shouldn't have even been a named location, let alone a mythic POI.
I'm a rock star in this prime.
Number 5, we got Rocky Reels. This one kind of hurts me a little bit because I liked Rocky Reels and landed there a lot, to be frank. Like the name states, it's really just a revamped version of Risky Reels because Epic really likes Risky Reels for some reason. It was a pretty good POI, but looking back, there was just a couple of flaws. Really and truthfully, the only main thing that was bad about it was that it just didn't really have enough loot, at least for the amount of people that landed there. I think that out of all the Risky Reels version, Rocky Reels had the most loot, but it also had the most people landing there. Keep in mind, Risky Reels wasn't even a named location at certain points of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And Rocky Reels wasn't too much bigger, and it was also in the middle of the map. I would land there a lot, and fighting for gray pistols and bandages off spawn while there are 4 other teams shooting at you is not the best combo. It was just too small, it had too much open space for early game. And as far as aesthetically, I've always liked the whole drive-in theater vibe. I've always liked Risky Reels. And the combo of that with the desert biome made for a good aesthetic. Rocky Reels was not bad at all. I really like it. I think that people give it a bit too much credit, myself included. Number 6, we got Lustrous Lagoon. Now, this is a POI that makes me really mad. I honestly, just like Catty's Corner, I honestly don't know if anyone liked Lustrous Lagoon, but I feel like I have to talk about it. Like why? You had literally no reason to touch Daily Bugle, and yet you still do. Daily Bugle was a fantastic POI, but you felt the need to put a big floating pirate ship in the middle of it. Like, why did you feel that was necessary? It didn't even make sense. This is kind of like when they turned Holly Hedges into Holly Hatchery. That also made me very mad, because Holly Hedges is like one of my favorite POIs of all time. Like, you could have picked any other POI, but you pick Holly Hedges. Same thing with Daily Bugle. It felt so unnecessary. Like, why mess with a good POI? And I mean, the Chrome stuff was supposed to feel like invasive because it was plaguing the island and the storyline, but why Daily Bugle? You could have put the giant ship outside the POI and just let some of the buildings be chromified. I think that would have actually been cool. I just feel like the changes they made were so unnecessary and could have been done so much better. And again, I don't really know what people think about Lustrous Lagoon, but it's going on the list anyway. Number 7, we got the Citadel. This is the most mid POI of all time, in my opinion. Its layout is mid, its aesthetic is mid, its amount of loot is mid. Everything is just mid. And yet, a lot of people that I talk to love this POI. It felt so empty to me. There was no character or vibe to the Citadel. It just kind of existed. I think the idea could have been cool if they approached it a lot differently. It really could have been cool. They missed a big opportunity here. I did land here a decent amount, and there would sometimes be nobody and sometimes be 5 teams. Like, there was really no in between. There was a decent amount of loot between the little buildings down below and the building on top. And fighting here was also pretty yikes because it had the weirdest building zones. At least, I mean, in the big building up top. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, other than that, I really don't have much to say about the Citadel. It was just really, really mid to me. Number 8, we've got Anvil Square. This is another one that hurts me to say because I really like Anvil Square. I feel like everyone liked Anvil Square. I don't think I've ever met another person that just doesn't like Anvil Square. I really like the aesthetic of Anvil Square. It feels very medieval, but in like a fun way. It feels like the town from Tangled. Hopefully someone gets that. It has a lot of charm and character. And it did have a decent amount of loot, which is good because there were usually a lot of people landing there. Because, I mean, it was the middle of the map. However, it is a little small, and sometimes there wouldn't be enough loot for everyone. Anvil Square really is a good POI. It just gets a little too much credit. Number 9, we got Lavish Lair. I do not like Lavish Lair. Landing here was the bane of my existence. Every time I let my teammates pick where we landed, I'd cringe a little bit to myself if they said Lavish Lair. I hate the layout of this place. It's literally, it is one big building. That's it. There's no diversity to this POI at all. The only things remotely cool about it are the little hedge mazes outside and the big statue. That's the only redeeming quality. To me, this puts up a good fight with Catty Corner for the worst mythic POI of all time. Like this is right there with it. Loot was never really a problem here. It's a fairly big POI, and usually not too many people landed here, so everyone can get some decent loot. I hate the execution here. I think they could have made it a lot cooler. It's a lavish lair, not lavish mansion. I know it makes sense because a house can be a lair, but they could have made it like a really nice underground lair, which would have been way cooler. And fighting here was such a yikes. It was so bad trying to navigate the house while fighting other players and also fighting off AIs at the same time. There's something about Lavish Lair that doesn't sit right with me. Number 10, we got Grim Gate. On the contrary, I do like Grim Gate. I just think it's a bit overrated. It's a pretty popular spot and it has some flaws. I do like the underworld theme. It's great. I love the aesthetic. It's a cool looking POI. And I think it does have a lot of loot between the buildings and all the outside chest spawns. However, it was kind of awkward to fight here for a few reasons. One reason is the green water. As you all probably know, you get dashes when you go in this water, and that can make fighting very awkward and difficult because you can have players just jumping around each other. And also, if you get somebody low, they can just infinitely run, pretty much. I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me. You get someone low, they go in the water, and they run infinitely. You can't kill them. And it's also got that same building style as the Citadel, so there's not a lot of cover anywhere inside, really. It's a very open concept, so that's not great for early game. It's frustrating to fight here, especially early game. Grimgate isn't bad, it's got some flaws. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. These are cool. I love doing stuff like this. Let me know what else I should do in the comments below, like underrated guns or shotguns or heals, anything like that. Just be sure to subscribe if you like this video. Drop a like if you like this video as well. Become a member if you want to support me. Join the Discord, link in the top of the description. Again, we have a ton of fun in there. It's a great time, so be sure to join that. And thank you guys so much for all the support. I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.